What's up? It's Tom Froming from twinsdaily.com. Let's talk about what's going on between the owners and the players. Where are we at here? Are we getting closer to baseball? Are we getting farther away from baseball? Sean Doolittle is the player who's come out and shared basically the most of his thoughts in regard to this entire situation. Basically, he just goes through and mentions that, safety for everybody involved in the whole process of putting on a baseball game is important, and they need to have answers for those things. I'll just say I'm on the side of the players in this one. I can't really tell you you're wrong if you're a fan and you feel slighted about if you feel like you're the loser in kind of what's going on right now. This is not like 1994. We're throwing a whole new monkey wrench into the situation with this pandemic. But that that stoppage of play, really left a bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths. And a lot of, we got to remember, most sports fans are very casual sports fans, and they're not going to want to dig in that deep to understand all these like labor issues and all that stuff. And a lot of people are just going to look at it as it's millionaires versus billionaires fighting, and I'm not getting baseball as the end result if they can't get their stuff together. So, I mean, it's a lot more nuanced than that, but whether any of us likes it or not, or accepts it, that's what it's going to boil down to a lot of people. So you may be kind of curious at why I would back the players on this one. And at the number one, they're the guys who are going to be putting themselves and then in turn their families in, a higher risk, more potential for infection if they're, traveling especially, and then just around exposing themselves to more people. It's not going to be the owners. We know that much. They're not going to be traveling with the team and hanging out in the clubhouse and all that stuff. Any plan that is around getting baseball back has to revolve around how the players define safety. Now, that's a very difficult question to answer. I don't know what the answer to that is. But number two, when it comes down to the money aspect, which was floated out there, the owners floated out there that they were trying to basically tie player wages to revenues for this potential season. Tony Clark immediately said that is a non-starter. We're not doing that. And it reported today they two sides got together for a discussion, and that wasn't even brought up, luckily. So it seems that Tony Clark has already sort of squashed any momentum that potentially had out. And here's why that's so crazy. This really is a great breakdown. This is a company basically took all of the payroll data and team valuations that Forbes compiles over the years from 2009 to 2019. And you can see how much the value of each baseball franchise grew exponentially in that 10-year span. We went from having two franchises worth in excess of $1 billion, the Yankees and the Mets, to having every single team in baseball valued at over $1 billion, and the average major league team being worth $1.78 billion. So now a good argument right now would be, well, what's the impact of that now? I would assume probably if Forbes were to run a valuation right now, these numbers are going to be down from 2019, just given what's going on. Their wealth tied with that organization, that franchise, has grown exponentially over the past 10 years. And we have not seen anything near that same growth in player wages over that span. So the owners are keeping this in their pool. The players have already offered to prorate their salaries for 2020. So for these billionaire owners to suggest that the players should essentially take a pay cut is ridiculous. And if you're suspicious of those figures, I mean, just check out the most recent sales prices. This is a Wikipedia page of the Major League Baseball principal owners. It lists each owner and how much they paid for it and what year. You can see these are the most recent purchases. The Kansas City Royals were purchase price $1 billion. Miami Marlins, $1.3 billion. The Dodgers, $2 billion in 2012. But just think, I mean, the Cubs purchased for $845 million in 2009. And now, jumping back to that piece we were talking about a bit earlier, and all of a sudden the Cubs are projected to be worth $3.1 billion. Don't feel bad for these owners. Don't do it. They're doing fine. So I hope this information I'm presenting helps you understand that stance of a pro player, anti-owner, I suppose, to be frank, stance. What do you think? Let me know. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, we all want baseball to happen. I really want baseball to happen. I don't need baseball to happen, though. I want baseball players back when they feel safe. And I'd like to see them, not get screwed.